Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Coach, like the Duds, man.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, by the way, we did not coordinate this.
The Twinkies. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Just starting to think alike a little bit too much, right? I don't know if that's a good thing for you, Coach.
That's kind of scary for both of us, I think.
It sure is. Okay. Hey, let's get into last night's game. There wasn't a whole lot of offense. It was great pitching. Sometimes you say, oh, man, there's a low-scoring game. You say, oh, the offense just stunk, right? Sometimes it's just great pitching. Last night, simply put, was great pitching. Garrett Crochet, James Paxton, two very talented left-handers on the bump. They put on a show. I love watching good pitching when it's like it was last night.
There's nothing better than that case. We've talked about this before. People who aren't baseball purists will tell you how baseball's boring, And we've talked about this before. Sometimes a 1-0 game is the most exciting game if you love baseball because everything means something. Every play, every pitch is big because you can't afford to make those mistakes. And so those 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 games of great pitching, great defense. That's excitement for guys who love baseball. If you're not a baseball fan, you're going, whatever, don't watch. Turn to something else. Go watch the seventh game of the Stanley Cup. That's fine. It's a free country. Do whatever you want to do. But us baseball guys love to see great pitching and defense and men competing on every pitch.
We saw that last night with Jongs there. I mean, you just put pressure on the defense. Okay, I love the way this went. It was pitching. It wasn't necessarily timely hitting. We always talk about pitching, timely hitting, and great defense. Only 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. But I'll tell you what, in the 7th inning when he scored, Coach, you got a hit, you moved the runner, you put the ball in play, and he figured out how to play offense. I mean, you had to play offense. You had to get on, you had to get over, and you had to get in. As a matter of fact, Rojas doubled, Lux moved him over, Kike doubled, and then Taylor put the ball in play, and then you had the error which scored Kike Hernandez to get the crooked number. So it wasn't timely hitting like we always say with the cliche of pitching, timely hitting, and great defense, but it was offense the way it needs to be played and low scoring whenever you need just that one run, right?
Like I say, move runners, Case. There's no secret. There's no magic wand on how you win baseball games. You move runners. Some people want to move them with 3-run homers, the old Earl Weaver way back in he started that. He didn't start it, but he was doing it back in the 60s, Hit a 3-run
great when it
homer.
happens.
Yeah, it's awesome when you do it, but when you don't, like you said, these are major league teams all have major league pitchers on there. And I don't care, the worst team in the major leagues still has great pitching because they're major league pitchers. So, you got to find a way to manufacture a run no matter what level you're on. And it's great to see that, just put the ball in play. As we said on the last episode here, Case, you don't have to get a base hit to do your job. Just do your job,
right. Hit
the next man up, move runners, give your team a chance to win. And I love it when I see the big leaguers doing that stuff. We see it more in the playoffs with the sacrifice bunts, doing more of that because they're trying to win a big game, And I know they don't do it all 162, but it's good. You got to do that, especially the Dodgers kind of reeling a little bit with some more bad injury news. So, they're just – it's the next man up, give out and play, let's go.
I love the fact Taylor did not hit the ball hard, Coach, but Taylor has like the highest strikeout percentage in the last 2 years. I don't know the exact numbers on it, so I'm not going to even give something that somebody could quote on that. But his strikeout percentages have been high. We've talked about the adjustments he's made. He's ditched the launch angle thing. He's hitting the ball in the back of his swing a little bit more instead of the front, which is the more consistent part because that's going to be your hard line drives, hard ground ball type of thing. To his credit, he's a veteran that's had a lot of success lifting the ball. He's been humble enough to say, hey, guys, I want to be a part of this. What do I need to do? He's been humble enough to do that.
Guys really have to reinvent themselves. Even on the major league level, you see pitchers do it. Maybe they're hard throwers early in their career. As the career moves on, we've even seen on the Dodgers. Kershaw to some point has had to. You have to reinvent yourself. You're not going to. If he's figured out the heck of the launch angle, it's not working. And I'm going to find myself in Oklahoma City pretty soon or out of a job. So, He's a true professional. I think he's a guy that we love. I love the way the guy plays the game. I hate the struggles he's going through. That it's bad for him and it can be bad for the team. But he's obviously trying to make those adjustments. And Lux is having to try to make the same thing. He's coming around a little bit. So these guys are they're grinders, even though they're major league players and millionaires. With their bank accounts, they're still grinders because they still have a job to do. And there's always some 20-year-old minor leaguer wants their job, so you can't sit back. They got to do something.
You're only as strong as your weakest link, Coach. And when Chris Taylor and Gavin Lux, that's not shade on them. They're two great players, but they're on a great team. And they are at the bottom of the lineup. At least you hope they're going to end up being at the bottom of your lineup, and you hope they really produce. Whenever you move a runner, Chris Taylor and Gavin Lux both last night, Coach, they both moved a runner, and then both also had a single base hit. That's the type of offense you need from those guys.
Yeah, and Taylor, we know he's got pop. He's not, he does have pop. He has the capability of hitting home runs, but part of his game has kind of gone away. Now what are you going to do? Be a doubles guy, hard single, hard contact, move runners, because we know he's great defensively, can play anywhere on the dadgum field. He's so valuable to the Dodgers in so many areas, but he's got to produce some of the bat, and that's great that he's trying to reinvent himself. Go double singles, move runners, lay down a bunt once in a while, whatever you got to do. And I think it's great to see him. And we know Lux is a good player, and he's coming off a major injury. We keep forgetting that he missed a whole stinking year with as bad knee injuries you can have. So he's showing signs of coming out of it, and we know he's a great kid. He's going to do what it takes to get better.
He likes your commentary too. I'll just say that.
I love that kid. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
My wife loves him now.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a Rojas double. Lux moves the guy, which was just simply fantastic. And then Taylor puts the ball in play. You get the error. Then you have the single by Chris Taylor. Then Hayward moves the runner. And then you have a sacrifice fly. It was like nirvana for me. It was like, man, this is a great game pitching, and you're having all this great offense. Just you're watching guys execute. For me, and I love the home runs. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
You have to hit home runs to win in this day and age, Coach. The pitching's too good. You can't string 4 or 5 hits together consistently. You got to pop one to get the 3 or 4 run inning. I get all that, but it's just so fun from time to time to watch the game of baseball be executed.
Yeah, with the pitching on both sides like that, how are you going to win? If the Dodgers are up there swinging and missing all night, they're going to lose that game. Of course, they gave up 0. They're not going to lose unless the White Sox find a way to score. They're not going to beat us with 0. So, credit to the Dodgers pitching on that. That was great to see. So, I'm like you. I get excited when I see that. Well, no matter what level we're at, coaching high school baseball, I get all pumped up. You see kids move runners, advance runners, and give themselves up, so to speak. For the good of the team. So it's great stuff.
Everybody's executing and everybody's contributing. It's not just one guy that everybody else is watching. And when everybody contributes, that sends positive vibes through a dugout that makes it a lot of fun to be in the dugout. It makes it fun to watch. Let's move on to James Paxton. The great performance. 5 innings pitch. We've said several different times. He has the pitch mix, the type of makeup, the big maple that the Dodgers will definitely capitalize on. And all he had to be was a 5th starter. I think that's another thing Dodgers fans didn't realize. He's not going to come in and be your number 1. He just had to be your 5th starter, and he just took down a legitimate, awesome number 1 starter. That's how much talent Kevin Paxton had. Excuse me, how he said it. Kevin Paxton, the guy I coach against here in Oklahoma. So, Shawnee, absolutely.
Oh, Pax, Cali County Tiger.
So if I do that, just know I'm talking about the big maple, James Paxton. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Easily the best start of his season. I'll say this. I've been in the competitive realm of athletics my entire life, and I promise you, all of the swirls of the Garrett Crochet thing, that motivated James Paxton last night. I promise you it did. It became personal in that scenario. That's not necessarily all that happened into it, but I promise you that was a part of it.
We're always quick saying we as Dodger fans. I've done it myself at times. I know some really go off the handle at times, criticize the Dodgers on moves they've made. How about Paxton? How about Glassdown? Some of the other moves they made. Those are big-time moves. Look where we are now if we didn't have those 2 guys. So the Dodgers got to have some credit. That's happened, things they've been doing that, the way things have turned out, those guys are very important. We knew they were anyway. Like you said, it's going to be a 5th starter. That's very important. But the way things are kind of shaking out with the pitching staff, thank God we're not like we were last year, lose the whole rotation. But, they're stepping up, and that's great to see. Like I said, going against an ace, you have to be an ace. And that was great to see.
Crochet's dirty.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He absolutely is, Coach.
He was in Dodger blue, wasn't he? Anyway.
We're going to get into that here in a second. I like it, Coach. I like the way you're thinking here. Okay, I've said this, magic number, Coach. Fastball in the zone, 60%. You don't want it like 90% because that tells you you're throwing too many strikes and guys can tee off on it. That 60% tile is kind of means that you're just enough on the edges to where hitters aren't getting, like cookies and guys and pitches that are laid down the middle, but you're throwing enough strikes to where you're not getting behind in the count. Last night, the four-seam fastball for Paxton was in zone 64% of the time, which then meant he was in the zone enough to make his knuckle curve a swing and miss type of pitch. And so I just thought really, and here's another thing that Paxton did, kind of like Chris Taylor, he simplified, Coach. He only threw 4 changeups. So whenever you're in this situation, a lot of guys think, hey, let's run more plays. Let's throw a trick play. Let's run it. What great hitters and great athletes and great coaches actually do is that they actually reduce. They simplify, and they go, okay, well, let's find the 1 or 2 things I actually am great at. Let's go back to doing those, and let's go back to executing. That's what Paxton did, basically a 2-pitch pitcher last night.
That's the key to everything, Case. I mean, even, us as high school coaches, my first year, I'm a baseball guy. I got hired to be a head basketball coach at a small school here in Oklahoma. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a playbook about that thick. Now, a buddy of mine who's a real good basketball coach in Oklahoma, and he says, how much of that stuff you run in a game? I'm going, good point. I'm wasting practice time on stuff that I'm never going. So the playbook became smaller. I had something for every scenario. I had a offense or defense for every scenario. We got good at that. Then our program got better. It's the same way. I know at Oklahoma State up here when in football, when Dana Hogerson was up there.
Yeah.
I had one of his backup quarterbacks observe my class. He said, we only have like 8 plays.
Yep.
They have 8 plays.
Same with Mike Leach.
Yeah, they get up there. If you wonder why Leach and Lincoln Rod and those guys got that little bitty piece of paper in their hand, it's not because they're idiots. That it's simple. They simplify it. Now it's simplified with a highly sophisticated offense. Depending on what the defense is doing, is how it changes routes, it changes blocking schemes. It's highly sophisticated. But Mike Leach carrying around a little piece of paper and a cup of coffee in the other hand and eating you alive because he's simplified how they're getting their stuff. Same way we're talking about here. Simplify the game, have the game slow down. Don't try to do too much.
Yes.
Do what you do and get real good at it. That's the thing in every sport. I've had to do it myself. You probably have too.
The Cardinals would tell you, hey, work on what you're actually good at 90% of the time, and then work on what you're not good at 10% of the time, and hopefully 10 days later you'll do something good at what you're not good at, and then 90% of the time you'll always be good at what you're good at. I just thought that directly comes from the Cardinals in the 70s and the 80s, those teams that won all those World Series. I thought that made so much sense, and I think that's James Paxton. I think that's Chris Taylor.
Yep.
I think that's all these guys that, hey, got to back up and figure out what I'm good at. That's what a lot of guys do. When they come back to Oklahoma City, it's not that Oklahoma City pitching and AAA pitching is that much worse than it. Obviously, it's the minor leagues. I get that.
Sure.
What actually happens to guys is they get the pressure taken off of them, and more so than anything, the whole goal. Excuse me, I knocked my microphone out. The whole goal is to just figure out, okay, what is it that's always made me great? I need to get back to being that guy.
That's the beauty of these guys. That's what you love about these guys. People don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. I've never lived that life, but I can only imagine the pressure those guys are under. Especially the guys who have recently just got to the big leagues or are trying to hold on that job. They've got to simplify things.
Yes.
How did I get here? Now, I'm not changing myself now that I'm here. What got me here? What did the Dodgers see in me to get me here that they wanted me to be a part of the Major League club? That's what I need to do well. I need to continue to do that well. And as you mentioned, the other 10% of stuff I don't do well, I need to work on that too to become a more complete player. And as we said, at some point in your career, you may have to reinvent yourself too and do something better than what you've been before. I was never a Kobe Bryant fan when he was young. When he was younger, I thought he was cocky or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
As he got older, I love the guy. He could go out and get 20 assists and 10 points if he wanted to, and he did it several times just to show how great he was. He wanted to win. Michael Jordan, they want to win. The really great ones, they can do whatever they want on the basketball court, but it comes down to it, they're going to play defense, they're going to have assists, they're going to do whatever it takes for their team to win. That's why these guys, you're looking at 6 and 7 world titles out of people like that. So it's a beauty of sports and why we all love it.
There's a reason why Shohei Ohtani came to the Dodgers. Yes, the Hollywood lifestyle is great. Yes, the attention is great. Yes, obviously the money that he deferred is fantastic. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty, Shohei Ohtani came to the Dodgers because, like you're saying, he wanted to win. Yep. He wanted to win a World Series. He doesn't want to be the greatest player never to win a World Series. He wants to win.
That's why we love Mike Trout. You always wish Mike Trout had that opportunity. We love Mike Trout as a player. He's one of the most talented players to ever walk the face of the earth. I know he's had a lot of injury issues. And people have kind of bashed you about some injury. When that dude is on, and he's one of the most complete, one of the greatest players ever walked the face of the earth. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it, and we've never seen the playoffs, and that's a sad thing for us as baseball fans.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. The bullpen, Coach, it was fantastic again. Ramirez and Daniel Hudson, and I thought it was great, Coach. We love the armchair quarterback. We love to sit back after we already know how the results worked out. It's so easy to do, and we try not to as much on here. If we do have a disagreement, we call it that. It's just a disagreement. It's not throwing shade. And typically speaking, we only do it whenever we've made the statement before something happened, so we didn't know what the results were before it happened. So there have been times to where there have been situations, I know, that we've gone, okay, what was Dave thinking here? That happens with every manager.
Yep.
Last night, give the dude credit. He put Phillips in front of Vesia. He looked at the matchups. This is why, if you give a major league manager that has the amount of analytics and intelligence, despite what people think of Dave Roberts, to put pitchers and players in the right matchups. I mean, how many times has he brought in a pinch hitter this year and it worked and that kind of thing? And let Evan Phillips face all the righties, and then let Alex Vesia face Gavin Sheets in the ninth. That was absolutely brilliant. And then also, I'll tell you another thing it does, Coach. It sends a message to your players that, hey, I don't care if it's Evan Phillips. I don't care if it's Alex Vesia. I trust all you suckers to get the last 3 outs. That's a big message to send.
Oh, yeah, that's great for your clubhouse. And I think he's already proven that to his team and to us who follow the team. We all have – that he's that guy. He's gonna trust his players. He's gonna put them in positions where they can have success. If they fail, hey, so what? I do it again because I got faith in you. I believe in you. I wouldn't have done it. And that's all a player wants to hear. Baseball's a game of failure. How you handle that is how you end up. Actually, your team actually, responds is how your team's going to show what you're made out of when it comes down to it. So you have to handle that failure, and he's great. Like I said, I'll go back to, I don't want to keep harping on that, but that guy should have been the manager of the year last year, what they went through, losing the entire rotation and winning. I don't give a crap they didn't win the World Series. None of us like that. We're all still ticked about that. But the job he did, and like you said, Case, he's showing more and more. And let's face it, he gets better every year as a manager.
Absolutely. Great point.
Yeah, don't waste
Great point.
Don't think he's not. He's getting better like me and you did as little high school coaches in Oklahoma. Every time we made a mistake, crap, I ain't never going to do that again, or I'm going to think more about it. But I go back my first year coaching, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And the great Gary Ward, the Oklahoma State coach, I had his son on my team, and I come over and ask him a question. I did something, blew up in my face like I did a lot of times. You were with me on a lot of those. You know how that goes. But he said, just trust. Make a decision, go with it. And he said, sometimes you're going to look like an idiot. Sometimes you're going to look like a genius. Just have the guts enough to make what you think is the best decision and live with it. And I always remembered Gary telling me that, almost 40 years ago. And, that meant a lot. And that's true. That's true in everything you do.
It absolutely is. So there was a situation about 20 years ago where Caleb Langley, who played Legion ball there at Stillwater, was hitting. He was our 4-hole, and we bunted him to get to our 5-hole. Didn't end up scoring. And I remember Chappell came over. He goes, "Don't ever freaking tell me to do that again. I ain't ever bunting Caleb Langley again." Just going back to that, you learn. You live and you learn, and you kind of move on. The things that you are that popped into my mind just almost immediately. I'm sure you have a million of those. But, Coach, hey, let's talk about Garrett Crochet. I'm all in, man. Here's my situation on him. The drawbacks are the innings. He's been injured. He's thrown more innings this year. You worry about, the load that he has had so far this year and whether he can actually make it to the finish line of this season. The stuff is just ridiculous. The way that he crossfires. I mean, he's landing basically in the first base dugout, and they're just swinging the ball across his body 100 miles an hour to the point to where Shohei Ohtani was like, what in the hell did I just see? I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, so it's like, if you really want to know how good a pitcher's stuff is, just watch how the hitters react. And when you have a guy like Shohei Ohtani that reacts to a pitch like he did against Garrett Crochet, that's all I need to see as far as that guy's stuff.
As you mentioned, all you got to do is look at the hitter. I'll quick We saw the Dodgers years ago. We always made a Dodger trip to Houston when they were at Astrodome. It's 72 degrees, and we get to watch the Dodgers and have a cold one. You know, it's perfect.
Yeah, you and Rex?
Yeah.
You didn't have a cold one, did you?
No, me and Rex and Randy.
No, you had 3.
We watched a doubleheader one day. That's a whole other story. But anyway, James Rodney Richard, the Astros, 6'8", comes out. His arm is 10 foot long. He was so dominating. It's sad that guy had his stroke and never was the same. But I kept trying to think of the Dodger hitter. It was we could see him from the stands. James comes up and in on him. He just looks at the catcher, looks at the umpire, just, oh my gosh. I don't know. It seemed like he'd throw a 1 or 2 hitter every time against the Dodgers. He was that dominating. But you're right. I mean, it's like John Kruk at the All-Star game when Randy Johnson buzzes his tower. He's just like, oh my God, thank God I'm still alive. Yeah, so if you want to know how dirty these guys are, just look at the face, and when they go back to the on-deck hitter and give him some information, you almost sit like, geez, good luck with that. But that's that guy is unbelievable. Like we just said, the worst teams in Major League Baseball have those guys.
Yeah,
they're in the big leagues getting millions of dollars for a reason. That's why, as fans, sometimes we forget. Hey, we got beat by the team with a losing record. Yeah, and they threw this dude at you. Yeah, good luck. That's a big win for the Dodgers last night just because of who they faced.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So here's the thing. The Dodgers have they have the Landon Knacks. River Ryan's going to need to get incorporated here before too long. He made his AAA debut just the other day after returning from shoulder fatigue. You've got Gavin Stone. You got Walker Buehler coming back. I know we had a setback with Clayton Kershaw, but you have Tyler Glass now, who's making things look fairly easily. You have a lot of Kyle Hurt can easily come in and be a starter and knock off 4 or 5 innings. You have plenty of guys that can eat your innings for you. James Paxton, we've seen, has done that. Matter of fact, you have 6 or 7 guys that can eat the innings. So the Dodgers would be able to manage the load management of a Garrett Crochet. They're the one team that could actually give that guy the role that he would need to make to the finish line. Now, I understand it's going to be a Juan Soto type package, maybe. I mean, what something is worth, my grandpa would always tell me, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So they can ask for a Juan Soto package, but if nobody's willing to give that up, of course, that would be for Luis Robert probably as well. But the Dodgers definitely have the prospect capital to go get Garrett Crochet. They have the greatest scouting, the greatest development. Prospects are like money. The rich people, I say it all the time, no matter what, you can take all their money away. Within 5 years, they're going to have it back. The Dodgers will almost immediately replenish their farm system with great prospects. They've been doing it for 100 years. It's not going to stop anytime soon. Garrett Crochet is a guy the Dodgers need to be aggressive on. And
you're right, the load management. I think that's a great point, Case. The Dodgers not only have the manager and the people who can eat those innings that can take the pressure off of him if he's with the Dodgers. You also have the offense that gives you some luxury too. I know we have those games where we have bad, and you see all the social media, but terrible offense. I mean, yeah, you got some pieces. Mookie Betts in there for obviously it's not as good as it was that Mookie Betts is in there, but
yeah,
you still have a good enough offense. Hey, I may go out and not be totally sharp, give up 3 or 4 runs, but you win 8-9-4 because you have those guys over there. So that's another part. The Dodgers are capable of doing that a lot of teams aren't. You know, they're good at on the other end, what you're talking about as far as the load management on their pitching staff. But they also is like, and I didn't really have it tonight, but Shohei hits 460. Hits a couple. And then you get a couple. Freddie's hit 8 doubles or whatever it is. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? They have that capability of taking the pressure off of the offense or off of the pitching staff as well with their bats, and that's something we can't take for granted because not everybody can do that.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Hey, it's been a great show, a lot of fun. It was a nice win last night, and by the way, Diego Cartaya moving up to AAA. That's exciting. Shohei DePaula up to high. Don't forget, we have the Down on the Farm coming up. We're going to cover both of those guys. River Ryan, Justin Robleski, the Maytag, Jack Dreyer, walk-off as far as Jesus Calise goes. How about this, Coach? You have a young catcher who's from Venezuela who basically put his whole life on hold to come over to America to chase his dream to be a major leaguer. He loses his dad to COVID in 2020. We're talking about Jesus Calise. Started the week by catching a Hall of Famer in Clayton Kershaw at the single-A level. Finished his week with his last at bat and a walk-off on Sunday. How about that week for Jesus Calise? That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. You see these kids. Of course, like I said, you see that up and close when you're working down there. That's the part you love. The kids that are chasing that dream, you and I weren't good enough to finish that dream, but we had the same dream. Actually, play the big leagues sometime, and to see that, what the guys have gone through, and do that, and also that tells you the kid's makeup. He's obstacles thrown at him, and he's still performing. I see they're making a lot of moves on the minor leagues, and I know you guys will get all that information out there down on the farm. But I noticed that Wrobo's moving up. Wrobo's looking good. Robleski, and we'll see him in LA. I would think not too far in the future, but the Dodgers farm system is what it is. It's been one of the best in baseball forever. No matter what you hear, it has been one of the best and has been for years.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, it's been great to see you again. You know I love you. It's been a great show, been a lot of fun, so thank you for joining.
Love you too, man, and go Dodgers.
All right, let's not waste more time. Let's get right to it, and let's take a trip down on the farm. Going to start our Down on the Farm segment as we do each and every time at Single A Rancho Cucamonga. Actually, you could say High A Great Lakes now because Shohei DePaula is getting moved up to the Loons. Thought that was going to happen a couple of weeks ago. There were some rumors, some people that kind of had some ideas. No real, obviously, concrete information, and who knows. The Dodgers, I'm sure this is a fluid situation as far as promotions. They might think, hey, let's move this guy. They might plan on doing it and then just wait a couple weeks, this or that. But Shohei DePaula, congratulations. It is time for him to move up. The 19-year-old who is moving through the system pretty good. And by the way, he has been just absolutely awesome with the bat as of late. You know, he got off to the slow start, no doubt about that, as far as offense this year, but has really, really, really heated up. As a matter of fact, after Saturday's game, I know he didn't get a hit Sunday, but after Saturday's game, he had 3 hits on Saturday. It was his 4th multi-hit game in a row. Second, 3 hit in his last 4, and also had hits in 7 games in a row. He had raised his average, though. Just know this. Shohei DePaula raised his average in the last 7 games going into the Sunday game. Before that, he had raised his average 36 points. That's the type of heater that I have not seen since Dalton Rushing. If you remember, Dalton Rushing got drafted in the summer of 2023, went to Rancho and hit over 400 and was slugging and doing everything. That's kind of the same type of heater that Shohei DePaula has been on. Not quite, obviously. The power of the question is going to be, can he raise his launch angle? It's not a matter of, does he hit the ball hard enough to hit a bunch of home runs? It's just that right there. It's a matter of, can you keep him to continuing to be in the great bat-to-ball type of guy that you want him to be while raising his launch angle? That's a tricky thing to do. That is something that, hey, as you raise your launch angle, you could really mess a guy up real fast, and you'd hate to do that to Shohei DePaula. So we'll see if they can get him as he goes on to hit the ball in the air and have a little higher launch angle as it comes off the bat. I know Chris Taylor has kind of ditched that lady that's helped him get back more consistent. So that's on the Dodgers' minds. We'll see what they do. But with Shohei DePaula, but congratulations to this young man moving up to High A Great Lakes. Okay, this is Side Armor out of Texas. He actually grew up in the Austin area, went to Tyler Community College. Noah Roon, and he actually was a shortstop, and asked him about his unique sidearm delivery. And he said, yeah, playing shortstop, the way you throw, it's always you're throwing from a different position. A lot of times you're coming from down under as the ball takes you one way or the other, and you don't have time really to square up and throw the ball to first base. He said all of those arm angles that he had to learn to throw with at shortstop actually definitely helped him as far as becoming a side-arming pitcher. So what you're going to see here with his line on Sunday, it was a perfect example of just exactly how he gets hitters out. He threw 2 innings, pitched, he gave up no runs, but he had no strikeouts, walked nobody, and gave up no hits. So it was just that right there all day. Soft contact, soft contact, soft contact. Because when you come from down under like that, you're very uncomfortable for a hitter. And then obviously, whenever you come from down under, you get a lot of movement on his ball. And then he has gotten very good at keeping the ball in the strike zone. So I wanted to show you the side arming effect of Noah Roon and just kind of remind you that he's there at Rancho Cucamonga and he is grinding away. He got drafted last summer again out of Tyler Community College. So I wanted to show you Noah Roon and his unique sidearm delivery. Okay, so this is Jesus Calise. This is a game winner right here. This was actually the bottom of the 10th inning of Sunday's game. Juan Alonso, who you're seeing right there, had just gotten a 2-out Christian Rubeck you just saw on the screen. But Juan Alonso, who scored, had just gotten a 2-out RBI base hit. There's Jose Mesa. Going to talk about him here in a minute. To tie the game in extra innings. So the game was tied, and then Jesus Calise did this right here. Scored Juan Alonso from first base. The cutoff man actually bobbled the ball. There's General Perez. You can see the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes are celebrating. Yes, because they won, but probably also, too, because it's Sunday afternoon. It's hot, and the game is over, and you get that off day on Monday. I kid, but those off days are very, very nice. So Jesus Calise ends his week with a walk-off. You know how he started his week? Catching Clayton Kershaw. That's literally what the minor leagues are all about right there. You got a young guy who's from Venezuela. He gave, he's basically stopped his entire world to try to chase this dream of coming to the United States to become a major leaguer. And then he gets to the United States. He gets to catch Clayton Kershaw, a Hall of Fame pitcher, and to start the week, and then to end the week, he gets this walk-off right here. Couldn't happen to a better human being either. Jesus Calise is total quality. He's joined Dodgers Daily a couple of times. Lost his dad in 2020 to COVID, and he dedicates everything he does to him. So congratulations, Jesus Calise. What a moment. Hey, who you're looking at here is recently promoted Jose Mesa. He's a big deal. I know that Coach Barrakoff mentioned him in the Dodgers Dog Show last night. Let's break him down just a little bit. I really like the way that he swings the bat. Here's a big old, tall, long drink of water. Good frame. He ought to have, what I really like about him is you just look at just how athletic this swing is and just the positions he can get his body in. Look at his lower half right here. You can tell just how athletic he is with his lower half. This is that slot where the barrel completely flattens. His hands are above the baseball. Now watch him get through this zone and turn that barrel very well and get to this baseball. This is a really, really nice swing. And again, what it is it's very athletic. It's a guy that should have really quick hands and a guy that should be able to hit fastballs because that's, like I said, he's able to get on playing with the ball. He's able to really get to it in an athletic way, and it seems simple to him because it's obvious to me he is a very, very good athlete. But haven't seen him a ton. We'll have to watch him a little bit more, but excited to see some of Jose Mesa. All right, one of my favorite young men to watch. This is Wheelin Diaz, and one of the reasons why he is one of my favorites is because he plays the game so hard. He has so much fun. Typical Dodger. If you like the way that Teo Hernandez, he operates with a smile on his face, having that contagious positive energy. That is Wheelin Diaz, and it's really good to see Wheelin Diaz get going. It's been a little bit of a struggle for him offensively since he came to Rancho, but hey, he is heating up. He had 2 home runs on Sunday, and he has been hitting the ball very well as of late. So, one to remind you, Wheelin Diaz has always been a big deal. A good shortstop prospect, one of those names that's always been one of those exciting names to hear. Can't wait to see the guy. So, hey, the defense is good. The contagious energy is great. The offense, hopefully it's coming around. He had a 2 home run day one day. That's great. Got to be consistent with it. He is definitely capable of it. So, wanted to remind you of Wheelin Diaz grinding away in the system and did a great job in Sunday's game. This is one of the top prospects in the Dodgers organization that the Dodgers got in return. Him and Zaire Hope for the Michael Busch and Yency Almonte trade. This, yes, is Jackson Ferris. Obviously, we know he has the big breaking ball. The fastball you see at the top of the zone here is very, very, very good. But the biggest deal about him, we've seen the Dodgers rededicate themselves to having their starting pitchers have length. There's that sweeping slider there to the back foot of right-handers. In the last, say 5, 6, maybe even 10 years, it's been all about, hey, go out and max out. Give us the maximum amount of effort you can have on every pitch. Max your velo out, max your movement out. And because of that, starters just weren't going as long. As a matter of fact, only one starter last year went 7 innings, and that was Landon Knack for AAA Oklahoma City. There's a good curveball, too. So that slider, curveball, 4-seam fastball mix for Jackson Ferris. There's a get me over slider. That's very good. But so the Dodgers weren't having pitchers and nobody else really in the game of baseball. As a matter of fact, Andrew Friedman talked about it in the offseason. So it's been refreshing to see the Dodgers starters go at least that 6 innings. That's exactly what Jackson Ferris hit yesterday in his season longest performance for Great Lakes. And hey, he'd been trying to get to 6 innings for a long time now, so great to see him ramped up. 6 innings total, only 2 hits. How about this? No runs in 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. So again, longest outing of the year. Jackson Ferris hit 6 innings. It's all great there. And now he's gone at least 5 innings in 6 outings in a row. So not only great, Jackson Ferris, he's also hitting the length measures that the Dodgers would like to see. So everything is absolutely great on the Jackson Ferris front. This is Peyton Martin, and you forget how young this guy is, drafted in the 17th round out of high school. Look at that fastball. It was not 98 the other day. It was more like 94, 95, somewhere in there, but he has hit 98 with it. That little cutter right there, he added kind of a splitter-type change pitch to his arsenal over the offseason, and just, boy, look at that fastball right in on the hands of a right-hander. Really nice pitch for him. Lots and lots and lots of potential. I know he caught some momentum in the offseason as far as prospects, guys that cover prospects. Oh, look at that lady right there. Let me rewind that just a second. Watch her. Woo, wow, what a pitch. The guy's like, oh, wow, that's a great pitch, right? Peyton Martin, whenever you see him from up close, is very impressive, and a good outing for Great Lakes the other day. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. And the thing I like about him, hey, it hasn't always been pretty. He struggled a little bit last year. He's had some outings this year that haven't been great. What I really enjoyed watching with Peyton Martin, I love watching him compete. He has so much confidence in himself. And he got himself into some jams, got himself right out of jams. So whenever you take a young, talented guy like this with that much confidence, what a guy like me likes to see is, okay, man, here we go. The rubber's getting ready to meet the road right here, man. You're in a jam. Let's see how you handle this. And he handled it. Hey, he got more competitive. He got better whenever he got into situations like that, and the chips really all got put out there and in front of him and on the line. He did his job, got out of the jam, showed his poise, combined with his confidence. You know, it's one thing to have poise, but it's another thing to also have talent and confidence. He had it all together. He showed it. Very proud of Peyton Martin for that. And because of that, he had a really good outing. And how about this? Martin's ERA now is down to 2.53. So great job, Peyton Martin. Going to continue with the pitching. This is Chris Campos. I say this every time. He gives me Gavin Stone vibes, just with the body type, with his composure, with his competitive element, with his pitch mix types of stuff, with the slider he added. This guy has having a great year. He's super competitive. Went 6 innings just the other day in his last start for Great Lakes. I believe that was on Saturday. Especially when you get into these dog days of summer, I get my days mixed up, so don't quote me on that. But 6 innings pitched for Chris Campos, 5 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, just 1 walk. That's the thing. This guy is another reason why I like him so much, is that he totally understands what makes him good. He understands his mix. He is a part of the equation. Look at that nice slider. Took a little bit off of that one too. He is part of the equation as to building his mix, and whenever you do that, that's going to give you more ownership of the pitches that you throw, which means that you're going to have just that much more innate buy-in to exactly what you're doing. Gave up just a single run in the 4th inning of his last outing, but controlled the entire game. And how about this? Campos' ERA is down to 3.15. His whip is just 101. He had 50 strikeouts in 45 2/3 innings. And his last outing was his 2nd outing in a row, which encompasses 11 innings where he's allowed just 1 run. So, man, he has been really good. 9 strikeouts in those outings, just 1 walk. So, again, throwing strikes, striking guys out, but not walking hitters, and really just kind of dominating as he goes along. So, Chris Campos, keep an eye on him. Hey, this is Yainer Fernandez right here, and Yainer really hasn't gotten the stick going a whole lot since he's been to AA Tulsa until as of recently. So it was great to see him have a great day the other day. Had 3 hits, and by the way, as of late, he has been hitting the ball very, very, very well. As a matter of fact, he has 2 multi-hit games in his last 3. He has 3 multi-hit games in his last 5, and he has 8 for his last 18. Yainer Fernandez is a guy that's caught in the past. He's been playing almost exclusively at second base this year. And like I said, the offense to start the year has been a little bit slow, but we know this is a guy that can flat play baseball. He's been all over the Dodgers top 30 prospects list. And so he is very good, and he has a lot of confidence. He is tough as hell, and he is one of those guys that has a lot of grit. I mean, totally gritty, big-time baseball IQ, so let's keep our eye on Yainer Fernandez. I like to cover Noah Rune and Ryan Sublette on the same show. You saw Noah Rune in his sidearm delivery. Not quite as dramatic for Ryan Sublette. It's more of a side slot, if you will. But I say this every time I talk about him, he still is able to get behind the baseball. This is the guy, Ryan Sublette, that is extremely talented. And as soon as he masters the strike zone, that's been his issue. If you look at his numbers, basically going back to, about a quarter of the way through last year, he just has missed the strike zone way too many times. That's all part of the process of getting better in the minor leagues. Of course, most of the time it's because you're adding pitches. You see that cutter right there. You just saw that cutter pitch. Let me back that up. Here's his cutter, and this is a really, really, really nice pitch. See that pitch there? So he's throwing a cutter and a slider, and he's also throwing a two-seam and a four-seam. So a lot of pitch mix there for a guy that's coming in and just throwing one inning at a time. So he's been really trying to work with Darren Olinger, Ryan Dinnick on mastering that sequence. He likes that pitch right there. See that two-seam, how it hops back over the plate? I talk about that all the time. Him and Antonio Knowles are in the same boat there. They're throwing that two-seam to lefties. Right here, see where this comes out? See how that's behind a lefty? Now watch it hop back over the plate. There's his two-seam. So he's throwing a two-seam and a four-seam, a cutter and a slider. And again, it takes a minute. There is the slider. So you saw the cutter earlier. There's the slider. You've seen the two-seam. This is a guy that will master the strike zone eventually. He has been doing it as of late. And when he does, hitters just don't hit this guy. So make sure you have Ryan Sublette in your Rolodex. I am that high on this guy out of Texas Tech. And we'll see as he continues, like I say, to throw more and more strikes. I mentioned about a month ago that he's going to get on a heater and never look back. So make sure and keep your eyes on Ryan Sublette. Love that cutter. This is Logan Boyer right here. And hey, put Logan Boyer at the front of your Rolodex. Don't just put him in your Rolodex. Put him at the front. This is a guy that has been absolutely, totally dominant this year. He's also a guy that, hey, if you don't know who he is, look at that gigantic breaking ball. And that's coming off of a big frame and a guy that can rush it up there 100 miles an hour. A guy that, just like Edgardo Enriquez, just like Jack Dreyer, if you don't know who he is, it's because he's been injured the last couple of years and he hasn't been pitching. So he blasted onto the scene this year. And, man, it did not take him any time to get reincorporated. Look at that breaking ball. That is just absolutely dirty. And, again, especially whenever you're having to gear up for 100 miles an hour as a hitter. 2 innings pitched for Tulsa the other day. 1 hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts, no walks. How about this? Matter of fact, Logan Boyer has been one of the best pitchers in all the minor leagues with an ERA down to 109. He has 30 strikeouts in 24 2/3 innings pitched, and has given up just 1 run this month. Just 1. That's 7 innings. If you like that, try this one on for size. He's given up just 2 runs since April. So Logan Boyer, he is a guy, if you hadn't heard the name, if you're like, who is this guy? Remember the name. I'm going to say it again. Logan Boyer. This guy is super good. He has been fantastic in the organization. Put him in the front of your Rolodex. Here's another guy that you need to put in the front, not just in your Rolodex, in the front of it as we move up to AAA Oklahoma City. Yes, I did say AAA. Congratulations, Wrobo. This is Justin Robleski, who just moved up to AAA Oklahoma City, and he hit 98.4. Not just that, his spin rate was 24.04, which means that his ball is continuing to carry. His extension isn't great, but still, with that spin rate and that velo, that is very, very good, especially considering that he's throwing both a four-seam and a sinker, so he's getting a little bit of left turn to that sinker. He's also throwing a slider that's approaching 90 miles an hour, and his changeup was at 87. We've been telling you that his TrackMan data is super impressive. There you go, almost 100 miles an hour. Gave up 2 solo home runs in his AAA debut that you're seeing here, but had 11 strikeouts, just 1 walk. So again, Justin Robleski, Wrobo, been telling you about him for a long time. Got hit by the car, broke his jaw, and he had to only be on a liquid diet, lost like 25 pounds. Came back to Oklahoma State, tried to regain it, probably threw a little bit too much. Had a Tommy John deal, came back off of it last year, and it started out just trying to build things up. Had a lot of momentum to end last year, continued that into this year. So Justin Robleski, put him in the front of your Rolodex. My man Wrobo, hey, this is one of the best hitters in the minor leagues that maybe nobody has ever heard of. But unless you follow Dodgers Daily, there's Trevor Boone, by the way. Hit a home run in 2019 for Oklahoma State. That was in the ninth inning, and the OSU was down 2. He was down to 2 strikes, 2 outs, getting ready to lose the game. He hit a 3-run homer in that ballpark there, by the way, Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark, and it broke out of light. It was like the natural setting. I got so excited. I don't remember like 20 seconds of my life. I mean, I think I ran up and down the stands celebrating that home run by Trevor Boone. But, hey, let's get back to Wrobo. This dude is awesome. Home run number 19 he hit the other day. That leads the PCL. Who's second in the PCL is his teammate Andre Lipsius. He had 2 hits on the day, raised his average to 277. 277 OPS, 975, 19 home runs. That is a beautiful swing. Wrobo is a guy that, because of this swing right here, look at the nice little load, points to the knob to the catcher you can see there, gets his foot down in time, very much so in time. Now look at the amount of stretch he's going to have in this swing. That is a lot of stretch. See how we mentioned the other day how Andre Lipsius, instead of his hands following his front elbow, he came around like this. That gives you a little bit longer path to the ball, which gives you more forward momentum with the bat whenever you hit it. That's exactly what Wrobo does. To slot right here, now watch him come flat through the zone and actually take his top hand down to that ball and then up in front right there. That is just picture perfect. Ryan Ward, that's why this dude can rake. Buy stock in this guy, the Maytag. Buy stock in Maytag, no doubt about that. Jack Dreyer, the young man that can do a Rubik's Cube in 14 seconds. He can beat anybody you would ever know in chess. He is just that smart. And he uses that intelligence that he has. He was actually talking, I was listening to an interview he did with Alex Friedman. Wonderful interview. Alex does a great job of getting these guys in and having them interview and really just kind of getting to know them. It's a great interview, so if you want to go to Oklahoma City's website, I think they have it posted there. But Jack Dreyer is so smart that he's able to pitch and then read swings and then go, okay, this guy swings like that, so I need to attack him in this way. And so he's able to actually evaluate that as he's pitching, and then he's also talented enough to execute. Just remember, his dad also pitched in the major leagues, so he comes from a bloodline of major leaguers. Dad actually pitched for AAA Oklahoma City back in the mid-'90s. Jack Dreyer busted on the scene like Wrobo, faced a lot of injuries, got injured after his 2019 season at Iowa, did not pitch at all until last year, and he busted onto the scene. ERA of 172 this year so far, hasn't missed a beat in AAA Oklahoma City, and Dreyer has gone 10 outings in a row scoreless. 10 in a row scoreless. That's tough to do in the PCS. In fact, since he's come back last year, we talked about he had all the injuries, came back last year, he's gone scoreless in 55 of his outings. That's just simply remarkable. Again, the way he sequences to begin with, the way he's able to read swings, adjust the way that he needs to beat a hitter based on their swing, and then able to execute. Simply remarkable. So Jack Dreyer, the Maytag, buy stock. Last guy we're going to talk about here is Andre Lipsius. Liftoff right there. 3 hits for AAA Oklahoma City on Sunday. That's his 8th game in which he's had at least 3 hits for Andre Lipsius. Home run number 18, which is nipping at the heels of his teammate Ryan Ward, and that's the 7th time he's had he's had more than 1 extra base hit. 7th time, I should say. He's had more than 1 extra base hit in a game. His hit streak is up to 8 games, and he's hitting .306, OPS 951. So Andre Lipsius, break this down just a touch. We've talked about it many different times, having a really nice year. In my interview, he actually mentioned, too, that third base, he's played everywhere, but third base definitely is his most comfortable position. Look at the lift that he's getting at the front of the zone right there. That's why he's getting the ball in the air. That's the adjustment they made right here. Boom, straight up at the ball there, getting a lot of lift in the front of the swing, but it's still good in the back. That's why it's awesome. See how he's still getting to slot here? He's not turning the barrel at the back of the zone. He's turning the barrel in the middle and the front of the zone, which is why right here's all your consistency. Right there is all your consistency. See He's still in a great spot there. And then in the front's where all of your lift comes. And that's just absolutely perfect. The Dodgers did perfect as far as the adjustments with him. He's been able to execute them, and it has absolutely taken off. So great job, Andre Lipsius.